of college educated to non-college educated immigrants. I have not examined that yet, but I'm certain, pretty certain, that this bill is going to be exactly like every other bill that we've seen in the last 10 years, which is in fact an absolute tidal wave of additional low-skill immigration. And they'll call it high skill. Back in 2007, we had high-skilled janitors. You can't make this stuff up, okay? You cannot make up what they do over there. High-skilled janitors, high-skilled beauticians, okay? High-skilled restaurant workers. We had them all coming in very, very large numbers, to benefit a high-tech society. And I believe that that's probably what when I analyze the rest of this bill, what we will see there. The other thing here that's very important is that as Dr. Borjas says, one of the effects of immigration is to strongly drive down the wages of American workers. CBO acknowledges that that's a major effect of immigration, and in particular, what is happening with massive waves of illegal immigrants without a high school degree coming into the U.S., they have driven down the wages of the least skilled American workers to the tune of about $100 billion. So you don't need to worry about that. The reality is that's not true, and if I have not examined the whole bill yet, I will, but if the bill looks like any other comprehensive bill that we've ever had, what this bill will have is a massive influx of even more low-skill immigrants that will replicate this problem all over again and make it much larger. Now, there's also been some talk about, oh, well, you didn't do a dynamic score. Now, most of the people talking about that don't know what a dynamic score is, okay? But let's talk about dynamic score. The first thing you have to understand about a dynamic score is that this study is vastly more nuanced and detailed and analytic than any kind of dynamic score you could have. We have over 70 different spending categories here. We have every single government program. We have 30 different tax components that we look at. For most dynamic models, the model can't even differentiate when you put in immigration. It can't differentiate between a PhD immigrant and one with a 4th grade education. It can't tell you anything, okay? And the most touted site on the other side now is this study, a so-called study from Holtz-Egan, which is not a study at all. It's a press release about a study that he might do, okay? The total amount of information we have on it is about 5 paragraphs, okay, and a black box, okay? But to the extent that we can clearly discern in the black box, one of the assumptions in that model is that it does not matter what type of immigrants coming into the United States. An immigrant is an immigrant is an immigrant. Doesn't matter whether it's a PhD or someone with a 4th grade education. Well, you know what? That's not only wrong, it's stupid, okay? And anything that uses that type of model is horrendously misleading, okay? The bottom line is that the National Academy of Sciences, when they analyzed the overall economic effects of immigration, said that there was no net economic benefit or very little to U.S. citizens. It makes our economy bigger, but it does not raise the standard of living of the people living here. That is what George Borjas, who's the most important immigration economist in the United States and a strong conservative, he's at Harvard, he says the same thing. There's no net benefit. And the reality is, when you're trying to look at the fiscal consequences of immigration, everything depends upon the skill level of the immigrant coming in. If you bring in an immigrant with a college degree, that immigrant will pay about $30,000 a year more in benefits than they take out in taxes. If you bring in an immigrant with an 8th grade education, they will do exactly the opposite. They will take $30,000 a year per household out, more than they put in, okay? And